Tuesday, August 14th. Please stand for our invocation led by Reverend John C. George, Episcopal.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Father.
I am the rector of the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd. It's the fourth oldest Episcopal church in the entire state of Alabama and the city of Mobile. Greetings to the members of the council, to our mayor, Sandy Simpson, members of his staff, the staff of the city council, advocates, fellow clergy, guests, and all present in these chambers this morning. The theme for my prayer this morning comes from the Acts of the Apostles. As the apostles and elders of the church gathers as a council to deliberate and determine and affirm the requirements for membership in the church and for being saved. Thus it was said, baptism became a visible and outward sign of a spiritual and inward grace of our covenant relationship with God and members of the church. The Lord be with you.
With your spirit.
And also with you. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, Holy Spirit, righteous and benevolent God, fall afresh on this City Council of Mobile, as all who witness these discussions, as the council has gathered together this day to deliberate and legislate on matters important to the life, health, and well-being of the city and citizens and county. So guide their minds and their hearts, dear Lord, with your grace, love, clarity, charity, hope, patience, and peace, that the resulting legislation may be appropriate, commensurate with what is necessary and beneficial for the needs of this city and council. This we ask in the mighty name of Jesus, the author, perfecter, and finisher of our salvation. Amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Where does it lit up? Okay.
Roll call. Vice President Manzi.
Here.
Councilmember Richardson.
Here.
Councilmember Small.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Rich. Here. Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Statement of rules.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The rules of the council are quite simple. We ask first that you turn off or silence all electronic devices before or upon entering the meeting. Any person desiring to address the council is asked to sign in indicating the resolution, ordinance, appeal, or public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. And when addressing the council, we ask that you clearly state both your name and address. Any person desiring to speak to the council on another agenda item must contact the city clerk's office no later than 2 p.m. on the Thursday prior to the council meeting you'd like to speak. Your subject must be pertinent to City of Mobile business. Any person who has not given proper notice won't be allowed to address the council. All speakers are allowed 5 minutes. A bell will sound to indicate the ending of 4 minutes. 1 minute remains for summarizing. The second bell indicates that the time has expired. When addressing the council, there is to be no personal address to any individual council member. All comments, all statements are requested to be made to me, the chair, who will recognize any council member who wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause and/or public outcry allowed. Thank you for your interest in your local government.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. White, Mr.
Mr.
Williams.
Chairman, if it would please council, I'd like to ask for the adoption of the agenda to happen immediately so that we can address the resolution before us, and that is item number 01444. So if we could go immediately to the adoption of the agenda, please.
There's been a
It's a
motion.
motion.
That's a motion, yes, sir.
Second.
Properly moved and second that we would modify the agenda, move for the immediate adoption of the agenda. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a
Mr.
further
Williams.
motion.
Oh,
We have
go ahead.
approved the agenda, and I'd like to make the motion that we take 01-444 immediately, please.
There's a motion that we would move item 01444 to the very top of the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly motion is second. Is there any discussion? If not, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The item is moved out of order.
Madam Clerk.
Resolution 01444, authorized letter of intent with the University of South Alabama to facilitate the construction of the USA Stadium project.
Motion
Lay up
to
for 1 week.
Second.
It's been properly motioned and second that we would lay this particular item over for an additional week. Any discussion? I'd like to say, on behalf of this council, as you saw at the beginning of this meeting, there are still some very serious moving parts to this particular item. We've been in discussion with President Waldron. It's going to take us at least 7 more days to reach consensus on all of the very important parts that not only matter to the students in the administration of South Alabama, but matter to Maysville, matter to Hillsdale, matter to the supporters of Ladd Stadium. There are a lot of moving parts here. It's where we are, and I know that may be unfortunate for those who've traveled expecting a decision, but if you had come expecting the decision, if one was given today, it might not be the one that you wanted. So we're asking for the time it takes to make this decision. And I want to also say that this isn't unusual. In state government, in federal government, they go years sometimes where they don't even pass a budget. And so I know there's some shaking your head, some that's rolling your eyes, and I understand that. But you'd be shaking your head and rolling your eyes at the decision if we were to move today without addressing all of the moving parts. And that's just where we are. And so thank you for coming down today, for your interest. Continue to email us, because you know we're getting hundreds of them. Continue to inbox us, because it's some of that discussion that you all have shared that has caused this interest amongst the council. And so we've got a motion and a second to lay over. Any further discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr.
Mr. Chairman,
Richardson.
I would just like to say this. We all are hopeful. The move we're making now is to keep hope alive.
And I'd also like to add, because I've started seeing the faces that I'm seeing, and that's your right to do whatever it is that you're doing. While all of you all want us to make a decision that's in the best interest of you all wearing the red shirt, I even have on red today. You all want us to make that decision. I've got 28,732 residents that are waiting and expecting me to make the best decision for them. And I'm working to try to make certain that what's good for them is also good for you. I believe that's the goal of everybody up here. And hopefully 7 days will give us the time we need to do that. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Well, I would just like to say, since it's an agenda item, if you have signed in, you absolutely can address this council, just because we'll do something that, to place this on another agenda. It is published, you are free to address us, and I would be very interested in hearing, you know, comments today as well.
Any further discussion? If not, let's vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is laid over for one additional week.
Approval of minutes of August 7th.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved.
Communications from the mayor.
If we could give a second for everybody to move that desires to.
I think the USA people need to hear what the mayor has got to say.
Oh, yeah, they need, and the supporters of Ladd Stadium need to hear what the mayor
Right.
has to say.
So my remarks were made prior to the change of the order of the format of the meeting. I think it's pertinent that I just will stick with my remarks, even though there will not be a vote today. These remarks should probably be made next week, but I think it's pertinent to make them today. So I will start from there. Today, the administration asks you to cast your vote to affirm the city's letter of intent with USA regarding the stadium. Due to the volume of public discussion in broadcast media and social media, combined with the statements made in this very room, every conceivable opinion has been expressed. Additionally, we have had over 2,200 citizens from all across the city respond to a poll about Ladd Stadium. Thousands of expressions with one clear message. Give us a clear pathway forward concerning Ladd. Your affirmative vote today sets in motion the creation of a contract with USA, which you will vote to ratify once it's completed within the next 90 days. Your affirmative vote today sends a clear message to the NFL that you not only support the Senior Bowl, but the city is investing in a venue that suits their needs. Your affirmative vote today will also set in motion a brighter future for Ladd Stadium. From an analysis of the polling data, we know there are Mobilians all across the city who would like to have the future of Ladd better defined. With that in mind, I'm proposing that we use CDBG funds to conduct an in-depth analysis of Ladd Peoples Stadium for the purpose of developing a plan for its future based on broad-based citizen input and the needs of the city. The process of hiring this firm needs to be completed within the next 120 days with a directive for the firm to deliver a plan before June 1, 2019. Upon receiving the plan, we will have more public discussion and input from all Mobilians. Simultaneously, we will be searching for a developer and exploring funding options, including a developer to bring their funds to the table to execute the plan. My commitment to this process is to use the influence of the mayor's office to garner community support for the Ladd Peoples project. Hopefully, with the city's lead, we will be able to encourage the Mobile County Public School System and the county commissioners to participate. Your affirmative vote today will assure that we will have the use of the University of South Alabama's $2.5 million contribution. Today, we have a timeline to make something happen. Within 2 years, we could have an agreed upon plan. Within another 3 years, we will have to have spent the $2.5 million contribution toward construction at Ladd Peoples. A vote for the LOI and its following contract is a vote that creates more certainty for the future of Ladd Peoples, more certainty for USA Stadium, and more certainty for the future of the Senior Bowl. Theodore Roosevelt said, in moments of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The worst thing you can do is nothing. Do the right thing, the best thing for the future of our city, for the future of Ladd Stadium, for the future of the Senior Bowl. I ask that you please cast your vote to affirm the city's letter of intent. Thank you very much.
Appeals. Today is the appeal for request of a waiver of the noise ordinance on September 1st, September 22nd, October 6th, and on Moffett Road, and also October 20th on Dexter Avenue.
So moved.
Second?
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Public hearings. Today is a public hearing to determine if structures at 151 Second Avenue, also known as 176 Third Avenue, 2653 Haley Street, 2651, also known as 2653 Haley Street, 2413 Cone Street, 2625 Gold Avenue, 1714 Lincoln Street, 1754 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue are public nuisances and ordering them demolished.
Is there anyone here that'd like to speak relative to any of these properties in this public hearing? Not, public hearings are closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Bill Boswell.
I don't see him.
Gregory Dennis.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. First thing I want to do is I want to thank Dr. Wadraw and Dr. Smith for their help in improving USA properties in Hillsdale Heights. I want to thank the Mayor Simpson and our councilperson Gina Gregory for coming out and touring the neighborhood to identify our problems. Hillsdale Heights Homeowners Association, Incorporated, is the name of our neighborhood association that will be focusing on improving the neighborhood plight.
Mr. Dennis,
Yes, sir.
can you give us your name and address?
I'm sorry. Gregory Dennis, 5919 Warrenwood Drive.
Thank
Okay. Hillsdale Heights Homeowners Association Incorporation is the name of our neighborhood association that will be focusing on improving the neighborhood plight. Before any action is taken on vacating the streets, we are requesting that the city have a real estate attorney do a study to determine what effect the city vacating the streets in Hillsdale Heights subdivision will have on the resident property value. USA owns about 75% of the property in the neighborhood and don't pay any property taxes. This has resulted in the problem the neighborhood is experiencing with the city maintaining the infrastructure. The best solution to this problem was for USA to pay the residents replacement cost value for their property in 2006. I estimate it would have cost USA about $10.5 million in 2006. Now it would cost about $21 million. SRO number 795948, dated 11/23/2016, for paving Warrenwood Drive will cost about $100,000 based on information from the city engineer. Based on this estimation, it will cost about $2.4 million to pave all the streets in the neighborhood. I was not able to obtain any information from the city on the cost for repairing the ditches and drains. The following are some of the SROs for repairing the ditches and drains. SRO 785286, dated September 7, 2016. SRO 791191, dated October 18, 2016. SRO 787779, dated September 22, 2016. SRO 787091, dated September 19, 2016. SRO 807840, dated March 1st, 2017. SRO 809469, dated March 13, 2017. SRO 281, dated April 12th, 2017. SRO 827-086, dated June 28, 2017. SRO 826-781, dated June 27, 2017. SRO 824-964, dated June 19, 2017. SRO 855-973, dated January 10, 2018. These are all SROs still pending on issues in Hillsdale. Once we are able to get an estimation on the cost for repairing the ditches and drains, we will have a better idea as to what it would cost to restore the infrastructure in the neighborhood. I'm not saying I'm the smartest person in the room, but I'm asking you to please humor me and give me an opportunity to give my input on your plans for the neighborhoods before making your final decision. I would love to give you suggestions as to what actions to take, but I would have to have all the necessary information before giving you the solution, and getting information from the city is like pulling tooth. I would also like USA to review their traffic flow plans with me before making their final decision, as the current plan seems to have a bottleneck. I guess the question for the mayor and city council is, can the city maintain a neighborhood as large as Hillsdale with only 25% of the residents paying property taxes? The other question is USA also exempt from paying their annual neighborhood association dues for the lots they own in the neighborhood? Thank you.
Thank you.
Wesley Young.
I'd like to say good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Wesley Young. I reside at 3058 James Street, Mobile, Alabama. I'm here before the council again about employees being mistreated in public works and public service by directors and by department heads. I come this morning because it's getting completely out of hand. I addressed this a few months ago before this council, and that was an investigation that supposedly been answered to you, Mr. Vice President. Have you received the results of that investigation?
No, sir.
Okay, we would like to have an investigation again, because we have a department head who's sticking fingers in people's faces, and he's talking to people like they are children. He's following people from his office all the way across the other side of Public Works, just behind them, walking behind them, threatening them, trying to provoke them. There was a meeting held in Public Works, and there was an employee who asked a simple question, and this individual got upset as a department head and walked across the floor to the other side and asked him, "What do you want to do?" The director was standing there watching this happen. The employee said, "This is unbecoming of an employee." It's my understanding that he wasn't reprimanded, wasn't anything done about it. So that means, test tells me that the director condones what he's doing. This has to stop. We're here in 2018. There's no reason for employees to be treated this way. So what we've done, we have, and I'm going to leave this with every council member, we have petitions signed by employees from Public Works. I'm going to also give one to the administration if someone would like to take it. And it's going to explain to you all in this package as to what's really taking place in this department. This has to stop. We have had 3 individuals in these departments who have been charged with threats against the city. 2 of them are back at work. 1 has been terminated. All 3 were charged with the same charge. These people are operating with fear tactics. When you hear a director go into a meeting and tell employees, "I am the boss and I can do whatever I want to do," that sends a message that some of us know something about. So we are here today to ask the council to look at the package that you have. I have the letter. I also have a letter during that meeting by 33 employees signed with a statement saying what happened in that meeting, but the city said happened, is not true. I would give that to you, but this may become a legal matter, and according to our attorney, I cannot reveal this. We're asking this council to take the lead and ask for an investigation. My very concern is this. I don't understand how the city going to investigate the city. This needs to be an independent investigation. When you investigate people, you should talk to those that are doing the work. And the trash department is more worse than any department. We have to understand these are the same individuals who worked 55 days to clean this city up from germ and disease when this trash was overwhelming out there during our city during the summer. Now they are treated like children. This has to stop. If not, we're going to have to take some legal action. Thank you for your help.
Mr. Young,
Yes, sir.
I have a question, with a couple questions. You said that the supervisor had put their fingers in their face. Did the employees go to that particular supervisor and report them?
There have been numerous letters sent through the chain of command prior to this happening. All those letters, we haven't gotten a response from any of them.
Did they try to meet with the supervisor's supervisor
Yes,
in
sir.
person?
Yes, they asked for meetings.
And they was denied also?
It never occurred.
And y'all also contacted the personnel board?
We haven't went to the personnel board.
So I believe that should be, if I'm not mistaken, I'm gonna ask our attorney, shouldn't that be the next step for them?
It depends. I don't know all the facts, so I'm reluctant to speak on what should happen next, but I'll be happy to get with you.
Okay.
One employee tried to file a criminal charge. He was denied to do that. Then he went to the Mobile County Personnel Board. He was denied to file a grievance there. Somebody's controlling everything that's taking place in the city, and you can use your own imagination. Thank you. Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, I believe that if they come back before us and claim that nobody is responding, I believe you ought to impound the Public Service Committee meeting and let them come down here and tell us. Let's put it out into the open. I think the administration ought to be the first one to handle this. If they refuse to handle it, we ought to handle it.
That's right.
Mr. Vice President, according to Councilman Richardson stated, Mr. Young been down here several times with the same issue. So I believe that it should go straight to committee.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
So I'll tell you two things. One, you notice that there are no times, dates, or people mentioned here because some of these things that have happened in the past and they have been dealt with. So because they're of a personnel nature, because we're dealing with personnel matters, you know that some of them are confidential. Two things that I want to point out to the council in that these matters have been dealt with, people have been disciplined, and one person has been terminated. In fact, more than one person has been terminated. A number of these issues are convoluted and they're old. Number two, remind the council that personnel matters are strictly within the executive branch, not within what we're dealing with as a council issue. But I'll tell you this, as far as what we're dealing with here, there is a proper step for it. And there are step one, step two grievances that can go to the personnel board, and those methods have not been exhausted. And so at any point in time, Mr. Chairman, if you want to sit down to me and talk to me about these issues, I'd be glad to answer your questions, be glad to tell you exactly what has transpired and what we're dealing with. Some of these issues have been dealt with already, but anytime you have ongoing matters, you have ongoing personnel issues that need to be dealt with directly.
If you could, because Mr. Young has been down here on several occasions dealing with issues with directors and supervisors, and so I hear and understand exactly what my colleagues are saying. I appreciate the offer to sit down and talk with us about exactly where we are, but if you could summarize to the degree that you can, that does not bleed over into personnel conflicts and confidentiality conflicts. If you could provide all of us with a summary of where we are on some of these charges. These are serious charges, and we realize that personnel is under the purview of the administration, But we're also concerned because they've been down here several times on several of these issues.
Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Mr. Richardson?
Let us make the record perfectly clear. The ruling authority for the city of Mobile is the Mobile City Council. There's no individual nor department head that we can't investigate.
That's right.
It's nobody so big
That's right.
in the city of Mobile that this council can't investigate. Let the record be clear.
And the only thing I want to say before I leave is this.
Mr. Young, one second.
Okay.
I don't think we're disputing that, Mr. Richardson.
Somebody said, well, the personnel matter. We don't care what the matter is, we can investigate it. Whatever the name of the matter doesn't matter.
I don't disrespect that at all.
All right.
I'm asking, before we go down that route, if you could provide all of us the information that you're able to provide us.
I can provide you with a limited report without names or personnel information, but that's not a problem. Not a problem at all.
It'd be the same if we impaneled a commission. That same information he wouldn't be able to share with us then.
Right.
And so before we take that step, if you could provide us what you can provide us,
Yeah.
and if we need any additional information, we'll make that request.
Not a problem.
But the record is clear that the ruling authority of the city of Mobile is the city council.
Let the
The
church
record's
say
clear.
amen.
But we're not trying to overexert ourselves. Let's work within the confines of the law.
Mr. Vice President, may
yes,
I
sir.
just a
And,
question?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make certain so that there's no confusion about it, okay? There's no confusion about it.
Yes, sir.
The governing body is the city council, but personnel matters are strictly within the purview
Of the administration.
of the administration. And any investigation can be done. That could happen, but you're right. I could not answer those questions about personnel matters. And just so everybody's clear, and Mr. Manzi, you and I have been through this before.
Yes, sir.
Any directive to an employee will be dealt with directly.
Well, I'm not issuing a directive.
I ain't either.
What he's alluding to. Oh, I'm not issuing a directive. I'm walking a fine line, and I'm good at walking it. And so, just want to make certain that our request, what we're going to get back is clear. Mr. Young, we're hearing you. We're hearing you, and I think you know some of the proper venue that's really in charge of that.
I agree.
And we appreciate you coming down.
Just want to make one more statement.
Yes, sir.
Whenever you investigate, whether it's the council or whether it's the administration, would you please talk to the employees?
Yes, sir.
I just want to emphasize one thing, especially what the city attorney, you okay, Mr. Young, has stated, about walking a thin line. We do not administrate. We cannot tell no city employee what to do. Right. It's a misdemeanor. The council only have one city employee, so if your grass is overgrown, we cannot tell one city employee go out there and cut your grass or cut the grass. If the sidewalk is broke, we cannot do it as a council. And you heard exactly from the city attorney. We don't have that authority at all. Overgrown grass, broken sidewalk, street need to be paved. We cannot tell not one city employee what to do. And again, you heard it with your own 2 ears. Thank you, brother.
Mr. Chairman, we have met with the employees and we have talked to them in a number of these issues, and I'll include that information.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam City Clerk.
Reverend Bobby Brown.
I don't see Bobby.
Yeah.
Not here? Okay. Reggie Hill. This is regarding the USA Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, Mayor Stimson, citizens and stakeholders of Mobile, good morning.
Good morning.
Reggie Hill, 1007 Center Street. I rise today to speak about 01-444, and it's a little difficult because when you're in a position representing more than yourself, you have to be careful of what you say and where you say it and who you say it to. And with the organization that I oversee wanting to work alongside the administration and the city council, we have to tread different waters. because we always want to open an opportunity to collaborate, but you can't do the disservice of not speaking up when it's time to do just that. And so I looked at all of the stuff, and usually I'm the one that jumps in front of the microphone and addresses this body. But I sat back the entire time to just hear the positions of all of the people dealing with this matter, because this was a very sensitive and touchy subject. And for the record, let it be known, let it be clear, I am completely in agreement with South having a stadium. I'm completely in belief that the city has the capacity to have multiple stadiums. And I also completely believe that this will be one more thing that as a people we triumph over. I totally believe that. However, I would be doing a disservice if I didn't speak up about our enthusiasm and our focus of energy. I am amazed to come down and not be the only person other than an employee of the city or a member of the media to be at this meeting. So to see all these people, that is a beautiful thing, a beautiful thing. And we all should be a part of this municipal process. But we have to put that same energy and enthusiasm into the blight and the poverty and the underserved areas of this city. And this is what I mean by that. I had an opportunity to speak on Pass It On this weekend. I mentioned the idea of if we have visitors to come into this area, they're not going to say, ooh, I had a horrible time in District 7. Ooh, I had a great time in District 2. They're going to talk about their experience in Mobile. They're going to talk about what they endured here in this city. And that's what's going to be reflected. Though each of you are elected in different areas, your vote represents everybody, every single person. And so when we make decisions like this, I totally believe that we have $500,000 that we can give to the University of South Alabama each year. But if we don't see that same amount of investment going into the areas that haven't had $500,000 in their communities in probably a decade, is it really serving any serious purpose? We have people that are not even born that are going to have to pay the bill for this. Not saying that they can't. Not saying that we don't have the capacity to do it. But are we having that same enthusiasm in the areas that need it the most? What we get confused about so often, and I want to really relate this to the idea of One Mobile. I had a discussion yesterday with a friend of mine who was talking about the class of economics, and he was like, well, you got poor, you got middle class, you got the rich. And I was just so frustrated immediately because that's even more vast in just those three concepts. We are all dealing with this same issue regardless of where you stay in the city. And that's the first thing that we have to recognize. There's so much more, but so much more that is alike with us than that which is different. And when we're able to uplift that area that has the least, that's going to automatically bring up those who have the most. When we're able to invest in those areas that have been crying for years, that have been coming down here pleading their case for years, we can then see how they're going to have something to contribute to that. If your economic capacity grows, then they invest in these same plans and ideals that we want to see done. So again, I'm in total belief that we have room for 2 stadiums. We should not be tearing down a historical monument. There's state laws against that too. We also have the capacity to make plans put in place that'll really thrive. We want South Alabama to thrive. That's a beacon of our city. So we're not saying anything against that. But that same enthusiasm that we're putting into this, particularly something materialistic, I want us to invest that in our people. Thank you for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to ever speak to you all. And as you consider this vote next week, think of the people.
Mr. Vice President, I'd like to comment on what some of the things that Mr. Hill has stated.
Can he be seen?
Yeah, you can be seen, Mr. Hill.
Thank you.
The council cannot vote or put anything pretty much, especially then with money, on the agenda. You know, when it comes to money, it has to come from the administration. We can't do it. The city of Mobile have over a $300 million budget, you know, yearly. If I can take $200 million of that 300 million budget and put it into District 3, I would, but I can't do it. It has to come from the administration. I hear you talk about blight, and as you heard earlier, what our city attorney has stated, I wish I could go out there and tell the city employees to knock down this house or tear the house down. We can't do it. It has to come from the administration. So pretty much you're more preaching to the choir than anything. I can listen to you all day long, but if it's not on our agenda, we can't move at all. So pretty much you're preaching to the choir. I appreciate you, refreshing, refreshing it to the administration, but again, only thing we can vote on is what's in front of us. If it's not in front of us, we can't vote on it, no matter if it's dealing with money, blight, whatever. If it's not in front of us, we can't vote and we can't move. Thank you, Vice President.
Ken Simon. The following will be addressing the resolution 01444.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Ken Simon. I reside in Birmingham at 927 Landale Road, but my professional address is University of South Alabama. I grew up in Tobinville. I know I can't address anyone directly, but I understand. But there was a certain postman who delivered mail in Tobinville, in our community on Somerville Street where I grew up. But we started out in Roger Williams Project. I'm currently the chairman of the board at South Alabama. It's been a long journey.
It's a long journey.
It's been a very long journey. And I just wanted to share a few things with you today. Hopefully just maybe try to give a little more perspective. By the way, Mr. Hill's remarks were fantastic. I think he really sort of defined the issue before you all today, and the challenge and the opportunity that's presented to you all. I think it's a fantastic, energetic opportunity that we can all benefit from. But growing up in Tobinville, having gone to Tobinville High School, I played in the Rattler Band. We performed at halftime at Hartwell Field and Ladd Stadium. I started out as a Boy Scout at a troop at Stanton Road Elementary. And the very first football game I went to was Alabama versus Southern Mississippi at Ladd Stadium. Remember those days when Bear Bryant would come to town and everything would be different? So there are a lot of great memories connected with Ladd Stadium, with the transition from Hartwell to Ladd. And it was a great community to grow up in. And Pastor Gordon's, I think, invocation was a beautiful one. And Church of the Good Shepherd, which is part of the heart and soul of Tobinville and right up there on Donald Street. And I don't think any of us really appreciated just how significant its history was until more recently. But my mother, LaVon Simon, was a fantastic person. She was the valedictorian of her high school at Central High, and she had this dream about wanting to become a teacher. Couldn't really do that back in those days. This was the late 1940s, and she had to put this dream off for 15, 20 years. But after 7 kids, she went back to school, got her 2-year degree at Mobile State, Bishop State, and then went to South and was the first African-American graduate at South, and that, believe me, is a story in and of itself. But her journey at South gave her 7 children new opportunities. We came from the projects, and the opportunities that we were able to realize from South were unique. My brother James was a teacher at Williamson High School right in the heart of this district. He had a church on Washington Avenue. My brother Bruce was a Vanguard editor as well as a yearbook editor at South, and he went on to get an MBA from Columbia. And I went to law school in Tuscaloosa, so I'm sort of like the black sheep of the family. I went to Tuscaloosa, as did my friend Geraldine Rushing, who's here, grew up right next to Ladd. Where's Geraldine? But she and I would commute to Tuscaloosa from time to time. I just got started. To make a long story short, I just want to emphasize that South Alabama is a dynamic place. You all know that. I don't have to repeat the impact that it has for this entire community as an engine of growth, of achievement, of opportunity. That's an opportunity that exists for everyone in this room. My friend Arthur Mack was at South with me here. He's now publisher of the Beacon and reports also for the Call News. But we've got fond memories of Ladd, and for good reason. But I think we all can recognize that there's a certain energy now that we need to make a transition to, and the opportunity is there for this council. Being from Birmingham, I've seen kind of what has happened with the new stadium discussion there, but I congratulate you on your process. Your process is one that is more deliberative, more reflective, and really is aimed at juggling all the pieces to connect them into one. So I urge you to seize the day and to take this opportunity to take us to a new level. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simon.
Mr. Simon, what year did you graduate?
1976.
I graduated 74. And my point is, we were there at the same time.
We were.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Simon.
Irene Antone.
That's that thing that you all have on you. Irene Antone, 2202 Clinton Street. You know the Jaguar that you all have on you?
I don't know.
Okay. Everything that everybody have said.
Like a shot bird. Shot bird. It sound like no Jaguar now.
Everything that you all have said pertaining to the stadiums. They have horses at the place where we used to have a stadium that we went to. Then we moved to Ladd. Ladd have gone from the, what is it, HVI, the school, Alabama State University. They are the oldest state school in the state of Alabama. Bishop State is the oldest two-year school. Spring Hill College is the oldest church school and the first one to integrate. So I'm saying everything that they have said down there is pure history, and you have to know your history. And everybody that has on red may not be from South Alabama. They might be from University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. But guess where it started? It started right down here in Mobile at the old medical center. So I'm saying too, they are having a game here between Tuskegee and Southern. They are calling it a classic. Okay, that one year that we had another person as the mayor, they left and went home after the game and announced it. Then, from then on, they said that Alabama State did the same thing. I'm getting to the point where all of us on our Social Security checks, we can here pay for South Alabama. Alabama State University, they have their stadium. Quentin Bowl is still there. My daughter graduated from Alabama State. I was a field recruiter for Alabama State. They didn't ask us for no money helping them with that stadium. They have two stadiums, just like our chair said. We can have two stadiums, but you're going to have to do it another way. Thank you.
Don't make that noise again.
Suzanne Schwartz.
Suzanne Schwartz, 360 McDonald Avenue. Gosh, y'all, $10 million, 20 years, 500,000 hard-earned tax dollars a year for 2 decades for a football stadium. Like many, I was wondering, where on earth is Cash-strapped Mobile going to find that kind of money? Just raid the Economic Development Fund cookie jar. Problem solved. Well, what is the purpose of an Economic Development Fund? For those who may not know, Economic Development Funds are taxpayer dollars theoretically used to bring new job-creating businesses to Mobile, or to help existing businesses expand for the purpose of creating new jobs. Quote, for the general good and welfare of its citizens. How on earth is a USA football stadium going to do all that, I ask? No sooner did that question pop into my head than one of our councilors appeared on TV to explain. The city is going to get every penny of that money back through sales and lodging taxes and entertainment dollars, food, drink, travel, souvenirs, shopping for all the people rushing to the bowl games at the new U.S. Stadium. Say what? I yelled at the TV screen. I do that a lot these days. Doesn't the city already get that revenue from these same bowl games currently being played at Ladd? Why on earth would we spend $10 million to get something we already got? Since it's universally assumed that these bowl games will flee Ladd for the shiny new Jag Stadium, wouldn't it be wiser to dedicate some or all of that money toward rebranding and expanding Ladd to bring new events that would create new revenue dollars? Isn't that real economic development? Isn't it wiser to make that investment in city-owned property that serves the community's needs rather than a facility owned and operated by the university for the benefit of its programs? We've been told this is a very important investment because USA is a huge economic driver. I agree. For 50 years, USA has been growing and making a positive difference. We're proud of our university and we support it, and they've done it all through academics, not athletics. I've heard it being touted by proponents of this investment that students aren't coming to USA because there's no on-campus football stadium. They really don't know how many students aren't coming, but it's a lot, they assure us. Really? Kids pick a college based on whether or not there's an on-campus football stadium? Okay, let's assume that's true. Then the theory goes, if we build it, they will come. So where is the economic impact study supporting this assertion that you, the council, can rely on to make this huge long-term commitment that you can use to justify your decision to your constituents? All we hear is decisions need to be made or the window of opportunity will close. Well, maybe this window should be closed. Collegiate sport is big business and football is a cash cow for any successful program. So it is without a doubt that USA will build a football stadium with or without a $10 million taxpayer handout. In fact, bulldozers are bulldozing as we speak. Thus, the city won't certainly benefit without having spent $10 million. So what's the rush? The university has deadlines to meet, we're told. Hold on, who's driving this bus? You hold the purse strings. Let's not have the tail wagging the dog here. And the citizens of Mobile are looking to you to protect the public interest. Ladies and gentlemen, like Solomon, you're facing a challenging decision. Is this the best use of the city's limited economic development dollars? Such exciting things are happening in Mobile. Austal keeps plopping ships into the river for the Navy. We're thinking of moving the airport to Brooklyn. Airbus is churning out more and more planes every day. In fact, Mayor Stimson led a delegation to the International Air Show to promote Mobile to potential service companies supplying Airbus. What if some of them come knocking? Will we be able to answer the call, or will the cookie jar be empty? $10 million is a lot of cookies. Councilors, we all know the deck is stacked against those citizens opposed to this opportunity. The fix is in, as many believe. But personally, I still have confidence that you will make the right decision. It's why we elected you. I trust that you will commit our economic development dollars to the best projects that will yield the best return on investment for the benefit of the city and for the general good and welfare of all its citizens, for today, for tomorrow, and for decades to come. Thank you, and God bless you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Schwartz.
Ordinance is held over. 01024, ordinance to levy a storm water fee.
No,
No,
move
this
to,
is move to lay over 1 week.
second.
Well, we'll give them,
Hold on.
give everyone who wants to exit time to exit.
Cut that out.
We have a motion and a second on ordinance 01024.
This is to lay over 1 week.
Yes.
Right. All in the discussion?
Mr. Chairman, just to let everybody know that there will be a committee meeting on Thursday at 11 o'clock, 9th floor conference room. And we do want to make sure that commercial developers have been made aware of this meeting and that they are invited to come in case they have anything they would like to share with us on Thursday.
Thank you, Mrs. Gregory. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Resolutions held over. 01, oh, I'm sorry, we did that one already. 01560, authorized master services agreement with Bird Surveying for professional surveying and consulting services to assist the city engineering department in performance of its duties throughout the city.
So moved.
Second.
Proper motion second. Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes.
01561, authorized agreement with the Revenue Commissioner, Mobile County, to collect the City of Mobile annual stormwater fee.
Move delay over 1 week.
Second.
Proper motion second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Items laid over.
I'll take the next ones together. 21562, authorized contract with AT&T Mobility, national accounts for fire and police department subscriptions and equipment to access FirstNet Emergency Response Cellular Communications Network. 21563, authorized contract with CNC Marine for McNally Park maintenance dredging. 31564, authorized the mayor to apply, accept, and receive funding from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grant. And 31565, authorized the mayor to apply, accept, and receive funding from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, FEMA 2017 Assistance Firefighters Grant.
So moved.
Second.
Proper motion second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
Consent resolutions being introduced for the first time, 37566 through 6576.
Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of resolutions 37566 through 6576.
Second.
Proper motion second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
37566 567 are recommending approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a retail beer, table wine, off-premises only license for Mary Mart and for a lounge retail liquor class 2 package store license for Mary Mart on Ziegler Boulevard. 40568 through 574 are declaring following structures public nuisances and ordering them demolished: 151 2nd Avenue, 2653 Haley Street, 2651 Haley Street, 2413 Cone Street, 2625 Gold Avenue, 1714 Lincoln Street, and 1754 Dr. Martin Luther King Avenue. 58575, add Jeff's Lawn Service to the list of private contractors to abate properties declared public nuisances. 6576, approve a water special bonus to the Officer of the Month as part of the Mayor's Incentive Program, Justin Washington.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? Not all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Items passed.
CIP resolutions being introduced for the first time, 21577 through 21588.
Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of resolution 21577 and 21588 will lay over 1 week by council rules.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? Not all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
21577, authorized contract with geotechnical engineering testing for 2018 CIP Innovating St. Louis Street Mobiles Technology Corridor.
So move.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? This is an exciting item that will lead to the further revitalization of St. Louis Street as our technology corridor, working with Ms. Irby and with Nick Amberger. We set aside resources in the 2018 CIP, and they were able to leverage those funds with other funds available, and it's going to be all for the betterment of St. Louis Street. I'm excited about what's already occurring there, and it will just only get stronger. Any further discussion? Not all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes.
Resolutions being introduced for the first time, 09579 through 21589.
The council rules said the resolution was leveled for 1 week.
Call for public hearings, 41586. Call for public hearing to consider sending to the vacation of rights of way in Commandery Estate, scheduled September 11. 41587, call for public hearing to approve the application of Matthew Kelly, doing business as Gulf Coast Pedal Tours, for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to operate a quadricycle tour service, scheduled August 28th.
So moved.
Second.
Proper motion and second. Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Announcements.
We'll start with Mrs. Gregory.
No announcements other than the committee meeting on Thursday.
Mr. Daves.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I would like to announce that there will be a community workshop in order to discuss possible changes to Hackmeyer Park, which is in District 5. This will be a week from today from 5:30 to 7 p.m. And any citizen who has an interest in developing a master plan or things they'd like to see in any master plan for Hackmeyer Park is free to drop by between 5:30 p.m. and 7 p.m. Again, 1 week from today, Tuesday, August 21st. This is a casual outdoor event open to all to gather input regarding potential improvements to Hackmeyer Park. Secondly, I'd just like to say a word about the action we took today with respect to the proposal to assist in the funding of the USA Stadium. As I'm sure we all are, I'm frustrated with the delays that this particular issue has involved. I'm also surprised somewhat by the passion that it is generated. I would say that from the many folks I've heard from, opinion is divided on this issue, and I would say it's all over the place. Everybody, all 200,000 of us, seem to have a slightly different opinion on how this issue ought to be resolved. I think that the issue of the city funding for the stadium at the University of South Alabama and the future of Ladd Stadium are inextricably intertwined. I don't think we can address one without addressing the other. I think it's important in this to remember that Ladd is owned by all the citizens of Mobile, not just by those in one particular neighborhood. In any resolution to this issue, both respect to the funding for the proposed USA Stadium and one with respect to the future of Ladd, has to be one which is good for all of our citizens. I'm hopeful that through the combined dialogue that has been going on so far and which we have given another week, that we can reach a consensus on the path forward, again, that serves all of our citizens. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Mrs. Rich?
Thank you very much. I just want to remind people about school starting back last week. Our public schools went back this week. Most of the other schools in our educational facilities have welcomed their students back, so please pay attention to school zones. I'm sure our police are definitely monitoring that, so please be vigilant. And also, I'm listening so carefully to this community and the decision that this council is being asked to make. One of the things that I definitely like to connect the dots when you're using funds. And I understand that to get a study, an impact study, has to be done right, needs to be independent, and needs to happen in the course of this year. And I understand that, and I would hope it would indeed come back positive as far as the commitment of using the economic incentive dollars to help facilitate South's goal of starting their stadium. One of the things that was told to me, and I hope that I can get some help from our city finance department. I know that Mr. Wesh perhaps can give me this information within the week, and that is that the build apparently will have the stadium build will have a direct economic growth ring for the city of Mobile, the build itself. And I know that South has built other facilities on their campus, and if we could look at some kind of historic perspective on what that does to our treasury. I know they do not pay sales tax like a regular facility would be unless it was abated. But if that is known, I would like to have that information. Again, we all represent each district independently, but together we recognize the strengths that each of that brings to the table. So if my office could be given that information, since I was very intrigued by that, knowing that the other is a 20-year run with our economic incentive dollars. So that would be great if the Treasury can somehow help me see clear to that path. Thank you.
Mr. Small?
Thank you, Vice President Manzi. I didn't have the opportunity on last week to thank the citizens and many volunteers who came out Sunday before last to our annual back to school rally. It was our 6th annual back to school rally. It was very packed, and I appreciate everyone for coming out and making it a very family fun, successful event. Kids had got a chance to eat, dance, enjoy different bands, and of course get school supplies. But most important, it was an opportunity for the community to get together to celebrate the beginning of school. And again, I'd like to thank all the volunteers and sponsors who helped to put on our 6th annual back to school rally. For the reason I wasn't here on last week, for many of you all know, I am a funeral director, and last week I had the opportunity to attend the National Funeral Directors and Morticians Association meeting in Orlando. I was scheduled to fly back on Tuesday morning in time enough for council meeting, but Mrs. Lavinia Talbert of the Mobile Convention and Visitor Bureau, she asked me to stay Tuesday because she was doing a presentation about Mobile. This association is coming to Mobile on next year, August the 2nd through the 8th, bringing in approximately 800 members and their spouses and guests. I've been a member for 15 years, and Mobile is the smallest city I visit for a convention, and to me it is an honor for them to come on next year, bringing in big revenues to the city of Mobile. They are very excited about coming to Mobile, and I had to educate them that Mobile is the birthplace of Mardi Gras and not New Orleans. So some people was there from Baton Rouge, and they were stating that y'all might be in the birthplace, but we partied better. I said I would prove it on next year. So that's the reason why I missed council meeting on last week. On this Saturday, August the 18th at 10 o'clock a.m., at the corner of Broad and Tennessee Street, I will be dedicating a street in remembrance of Mr. Rayfield Davis. In 1948, Mr. Davis was killed, brutally killed, and left in a ditch on Broad and Tennessee Street. after sharing with a Caucasian co-worker that he believed that one day that blacks would be equal to whites. The co-worker, he had admitted that he was upset by hearing what Mr. Davis had stated. So until this day, Mr. Davis' family has not received no type of justice because the gentleman was never convicted. The case is going to be reopened, and there will be an exhibit at the History Museum on August the 18th until the rest of the month. So I'm inviting all the citizens in Mobile to join me on this coming Saturday, August the 18th at 10 o'clock a.m. at the corner of Broad Street and Tennessee Street for this momentous occasion. Finally, District 3, we are scheduled for our district meeting on Monday, August the 20th at 6 o'clock p.m. at the Gilliard Elementary School. Mayor Sandy Stimson is invited to address the district, and also Mr. Chris Curry, executive of the Mobile Airport Authority, is also invited to discuss the potential move of the regional airport to Brooklyn. I have invited some local companies that are currently hiring to attend between 5 p.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. So if anyone that you know looking for a job, ask them to arrive at Gilliard Elementary School at 5 o'clock p.m. And our district meeting will start at 6 o'clock p.m. Again, inviting all the district to come out and inviting everyone who's currently looking for a job to this important meeting. Again, this will be held on this coming Monday, August the 20th at 6 o'clock p.m. at the Gilliard Elementary School, which is located on Dolphin Island Parkway. And remember that District 3 is a place where things are happening. Thank you, Vice President Manzi.
Yes,
Mr. Vice President, I'd like to tell Councilor Small that I am scheduled to be out of town on the 24th, and so I'll not be able to attend your meeting.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to say there's a lot of exciting things going on in District 1. On yesterday, a new Bojangles restaurant opened up on Dolphin Street, and they have completed the build out of Dunkin' Donuts, and they are now working, trying to get the parking lot and grass all down. So we expect in the next 2 weeks they will be opening up the Dunkin' Donuts located at the corner of Spring Hill Avenue and Mobile Infirmary Boulevard. They have completed the renovation of the old Bluebird Hardware at O'Shea and Bayshore Avenue. We expect them to have new tenants coming up there soon. At the Crichton. Hey man, if you got it. All right then. At the Crichton Village Shopping Center, and I made note when I said Village Shopping Center, located at the corner of Florida and O'Shea, where the new Publix is. If you go by there, I want you to take note. Each business is standing alone. It's not a strip mall. Mobile is known for strip malls where you have a whole bunch of shops all connected to each other. And we got with the developer and said we want this shopping center to lead the way for the future. So when you go over there, they got all these individual shops. So they're getting ready, real soon they will be opening up 2 restaurants in the village. They're gonna open up a Greek restaurant, and they're gonna have Taco Mama. And as soon as they get through with the paving around Taco Mama, I think they'll be ready to open it up. So what does this mean to the citizens in District 1? Every time they open up a new business, we're talking about jobs. Children, when they get out of school and on the weekend, would have somewhere to go to work. So unemployment is higher in District 1 than it is in the city. And I'm always interested in economic development initiatives that will bring jobs to the community, and that's what's happening to District 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. I want to start out by acknowledging and spotlighting my sister. My sister is in the auditorium. She came prepared to do whatever she needed to do if she had it to do it. And so I just want to acknowledge her. Let's give her a big round of applause. That's my sister. Wait a minute, now I saw some folks not clapping. Let's give her a big round of applause. That's my sister. Thank you for being here today, for moral and visual support, because it was certainly needed. I want to also recognize Mr. Simon. Mr. Simon grew up in my district, and I grew up listening to his brother on Joy in the Morning. Yes, sir. Plays some of the best gospel in the region. And I wish we could go back to some of that today, but he didn't. Every Sunday morning, I'd go on to St. Joseph listening to Reverend Simon, and to see where he is now, president of the board there at the University of South Alabama. That is tremendous, and we applaud you and hope that you continue to come back and make investment and show interest in Mobile. I have several citizens from District 2 who are still here. I heard Ms. Schwartz's passionate speech today. The difficulty in municipal government, and particularly in leadership, is that the passion that you have expressed today, there are 100 that feel exactly the way you feel, 150 who feel as passionate on the other side. We're trying our best to decipher through that and really get to where we need to be. The thing that I'm impressed with most, and some may appreciate it, some may not, when this discussion started, it was a South Alabama stadium versus Ladd Stadium proposition. It just had been announced and proclaimed that Ladd needed to be demolished, tore down, that there was no further future use of it. Through this process, we're getting to this two-stadium kind of a proposition, which is where I think, where I believe we'll end up, hopefully. But it's only through this process that this happens. And so it's slow. I appreciate you giving us some accolades and being slow and deliberate, because 99% of Mobile probably doesn't agree with that assessment. But I appreciate it coming from a man of your background. And so we got this additional week, and I'm hopeful that we utilize it and come to a conclusion next week, a conclusion. And I thank everybody who's been so passionate, and I thank my colleagues who really have put in an inordinate amount of time, and the administration, the mayor. I probably haven't talked with him about any issue greater than this one in the time we've been in office, and that's what it takes. So any further comments?
Yes, Vice President. I would like to ask the mayor, since he is not able to come to the district meeting, if he can just send representation to the meeting, if possible, from his office. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I forgot to announce that one of our permanent citizens passed during the week. Pastor and businessman Cornelius Woods. He operated a funeral home, and he pastored a church in my district. And we are mourning the passing of Bishop Cornelius Woods.
Yes, sir. Any further announcements? There's been a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Probably a motion to second. Any discussion?
No.
Not all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.